politics and elections are no longer giving us the government and the governance that we want as a country. No more donations to churches of taxpayers' money in the year 2025. The little money we have as an economy must go towards streamlining service delivery. And that is why we are here, to set the record straight, to advise and to guide the government on various strategic undertakings that they're supposed to undertake to ensure that the country is not like 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ambassador Esther Waringa, the President of Public Service Governance, a former presidential aspirant, 2022, and of course aiming to be the 6th President of the Republic of Kenya, 2027. Now, let us focus on the year 2024. How was it in the country? The year 2024, on governance terms, the government of Kenya, through the UDA government, was unable to realize its objectives for the year. From governance, to corruption, to the wage bill, to divisive politics and tribalistic politics in the country. This is what took the center stage. Impeachments, that is part of poor governance. So the year 2024 was not the best year for Kenyans. Actually, according to Infotrack, 76% of Kenyans believed that the government is headed the wrong direction. 76% is a very big percentage of the Kenyan population that have no trust in their government, and this is a number that cannot be ignored as we get to the year 2025. I must clearly state that politics and elections are no longer giving us the government and the governance that we want as a country. Kenyans, we went to a general elections 2022. But what did we get? We got a team of leaders that we are desiring today to send home. The Gen Zs went to parliament and they made sure that parliament will not come back, but they came back. What message did they send? That they had already lost trust in the people that they elected 2 years ago. So what are we talking about? Are we talking about a failure of a system? Are we talking about exploration of a new system of birthing government? Are politicians giving us the necessary public service delivery as anticipated? And how much are we paying them as a country? And how much did we spend to bring these politicians on board? Like, how much did they spend in general elections campaigning? How much did the IBC spend in elections? And then, as an economy, we spent more than 100 billion. Election 2022. 2 years down the line, the 100 billion is going down the drain. Why? Because the politicians are not giving us the services that we have desired as a country. So what is Ambassador Esther bringing on board in the public service governance? We are bringing a new dossier very soon. As much as I'm running for the President of the Republic of Kenya, which I am, my first agenda will be to bring to an end general elections as a way of birthing leadership in this country. It has costed Kenyans enough. Kenyans said we are waking up early, and indeed they woke up early, but to elect who? The leaders that they want to send home 1.5 years after general elections. So, are we getting the value for our money spent in elections? No. Are we getting value for the time that is spent in elections? No. Are we getting value for the resources that we spent in elections? No. Are we getting value for leadership that we anticipated during elections? No. What is the dossier? Kenya bila uchaguzi. We just have to do away with general elections and employ a new system of birthing leadership. I must remind Kenyans that what has a beginning has an end. We started elections since Gen Zs were born. Before Gen Zs were born. Actually, before we were born ourselves. And now, elections have depleted. We are not getting results. We are not getting what we want. So what do? We transit to the next level. And in this regard, we need our progressive governance solution for Kenya will not come from elected leaders. Take this. They always say take it to the bank and take a run with it. That our progressive governance solutions for Kenya will not come from the political class. It will not come from elected politicians. We need managers in government. We need leaders in government. And most of those leaders in government may not necessarily be elected. They may not be the people who know how to make noise so much so that they are elected. They may not be the people who know how to give 200, 300 shillings to be elected. But what we need is not politicians anymore. We need managers in government. So the year 2025 is calling for a paradigm shift. We cannot continue doing things the same way again and expect the same results. It's only 2 years. Actually, let me say, we need the hand of God actually as a country for us to get the right leaders and the right managers of government. It's only 2 years after general elections that the country is already in a clamor to recall or impeach 90% of elected leaders, including parliament, that has performed below expectations. The scorecard of parliament is totally below expectations. The best time and the longest time of parliament they spent on impeachment processes. If not impeachment, they were discussing bills that are not at the best, in the best interest of the people of the Republic of Kenya. Parliament is time for a paradigm shift. We cannot do things again the same way. All bills to be discussed in parliament going forward, there must be bills that are people-centered, that are city-centric, that are citizen-centric, that are taxpayer-centric as well. Ladies and gentlemen, the longest time I've been campaigning for Kenya without elections. We look forward to establishing an alternative system of governance based on vetting and appointment of leaders other than the divisive, expensive, violent, destructive, and tribalistic general elections. What has a beginning has an end. Even the constitution of IBC is already late. I think systems are collapsing. It is very evident. But for brilliant and bright Kenyans, when the electoral system is collapsing, so what is the alternative? The alternative would be vetting and appointment of leaders. We call it public service system of government, where we only vet and appoint leaders. Kenyans, we are aware that the president of the judiciary was not elected. The president of the judiciary was vetted and appointed by the Judicial Service Commission. We would want, going forward, we establish a commission, a governance commission that will be able to vet and appoint the head of state and government. And when they fail to perform, of course, the same system will send them back home. But the current electoral system has failed us totally. Ladies and gentlemen, we look forward to establishing an alternative system of governance based on vetting and appointment of leaders. I'm running for the 6th president, and my first agenda in my manifesto is to eliminate general elections as a way of birthing leadership and introduce vetting and appointment of all leaders and state officers that serve government, that serve the people of Kenya, rather. Ladies and gentlemen, corruption has totally eaten into the moral fabric of our government and society. So much misappropriation of government development fund was experienced in the year 2024. We saw it. Did I hear that even the parliament was being bribed to do impeachment? Where did that money come from? How much money was donated to the churches? Can this stop in the year 2025? We would want to see responsibility in government in the year 2025. We would want to see this money that has been donated to churches so that the congregants can be wooed to love politicians. That money should go to construct JSS classrooms. Right now, we have a deficit of more than 3,000 JSS classrooms as we talk right now. And according to the Minister for Education yesterday, the Ministry of Education was supposed to do 11,000 classrooms, and they have done 10,000. And again, they delegated part of it to the CDF kitty through the members of parliament. Members of parliament again have done 2,000, a deficit of, have done 3,000, a deficit of 2,000. In total, a deficit of 3,000 classrooms. Your Excellency the President, this is not the time to misappropriate any government shilling. No more donations to churches of taxpayers' money in the year 2025. The little money we have as an economy must go towards streamlining service delivery. And priority is ensuring that all our children are in classroom. Ensuring that all our children have textbooks. Ensuring that all our children have adequate teachers. And indeed, go to the next level to ensure that our children have meals at school. Because Kenya is rich, is only that we must misappropriate this money. But it's not going to happen again. The public service governance will be opening up its eyes. And the Mama Taifa incoming 6th administration will open our eyes to keep the government on check that, look, Kenya is more superior than any of the politicians around. All state officers of public service must prioritize efficiency and effective service delivery to the people of Kenya. Parliament must this year discuss and pass bills that relate to the people. We want to hear bills that relate to water. This year, 2025, we want to hear bills that relate to energy. We want to hear bills that relate to education. Can Parliament reduce on politics? Can Parliament stop singing the song of the executive during bill discussion processes? We would want an independent Parliament that has leadership, not politicians. And Your Excellency, the President, it's time now to crack the whip on matters efficiency and effective public service delivery. Kenyans are crying because of high cost of energy. Manufacturers are crying because of high cost of doing the business, because of the high cost of energy. Right now, today, parents are having a difficult time taking their children back to school because some schools are demanding for, activity fees, I don't know what other fees, development fees, And the government must check into this. We have been having all elected people having their independent bursary kitties. This must stop. We look forward to streamlining governance and specifically the public service. We cannot be having a member of parliament has a CDA, has a bursary kitty. Women rep, bursary kitty. Governor, bursary. MCA, bursary. That is not proper coordination. That negates good governance. This fund must be consolidated together. And actually, including the CDF, we don't need it any other time. All that money that goes into CDF financing and all the money that goes into bursary financing must now be able to be channeled to schools towards free primary, secondary, and university education. And before I exit education matters, I would want to say, Your Excellency the President, you cannot, through the Minister of Education, you cannot divide Kenyans according to their poverty levels. Our university students are very discouraged because they are told band 5 is for the richest. Band 4 is for those who have stone walls in their homes. Band 3 is for those who have cows and goats. Band 2 is for those who don't have households. Band 1 is for the poor and the poor. Come on, we cannot divide the country according to poverty levels. Your Excellency, the President and the Minister for Education, let us go back to national university funding program through the Higher Education Loans Board. It was efficient. It worked very well. I don't think we have any reason at all to divide our students. Right now, the education model is not working. It still remains a very, very big challenge to the university students. Right now, the university students are suffering. Why? They have been victimized. That everybody knows I'm bad one. Therefore, my parents are known to be the poorest in our university. They are known that they are the poorest in our education system. That cannot happen. So we request the government, in the year 2025, can we go back to the Higher Education Loans Board, where nobody knew how much poor or how much rich is a student? All we knew is that this student is doing science, this student is doing education, and they are financed. Once they get jobs, they will pay back the loans. So that is the kind of country that we need. Nationalism. Nationalism. not a country where the rich continues to be up and the poor continues to be oppressed and depressed down there and given birds that, no. We must be together as one country. We must be united. We must be interlinked together. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me now to address the right to life according to the Constitution of Kenya, Article 26. I want to remind the government of Kenya, from His Excellency the President to the entirety of his government, that every Kenyan has a right to life. And according to Chapter 26, we are assured that the right to life is inherent. It's God-given. It is actually inalienable. It cannot be taken away. Therefore, the government has a constitutional mandate to protect every human life, including the child who is born today. And in case of any mistake done by one of these lives or one Kenyan, there is a very clearly stipulated judicial system through the court of law that each and every person who violates the law should be taken through. I want to remind the government that we are not going to testify again in the year 2025, parents going through pain because of abductions. This must stop with immediate effect. And I say this very powerfully with a lot of authority as the President of Public Service Governance, because it's our business to protect the public. It's our business to bring the government to check, to ensure that the life of every Kenyan is protected. Therefore, taking away the right to life of a human being is a criminal offense, and especially for a person who has not been tried in court of law and proved guilty or otherwise. The law of Kenya is very clear that if any Kenyan commits an offense of whatever magnitude, get my word, commits an offense of whatever magnitude, must first be produced in a court of law to answer charges before action is taken. So, the government must not be in the front line taking the law in their hands. What are we teaching our children? What are we teaching our Gen Zs when we start taking law in our hands by abducting our children? We should offer leadership. We should be parents, not competitors with our youth. We therefore direct the Inspector General of Police. I know today he's in the courts and he's answering this question. Who abducted our children? Inspector General, NIS, DCI, we pay you, we give you the tools of work, we give you the necessary machinery to be able to investigate such cases. When we hear of senior security officers through the media saying that they don't know who abducted our children, we question their mandate in office. And in this regard, from today, the NSIS, National Intelligence Service, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations, DCI, the Inspector General from today, are we able to reread our mandate as to why we are in office? Can we go back to the code that guides us on what we are supposed to do as DCI, as NSIS, as Inspector General of Police? One of them being protecting the life of every Kenyan. Once we read that statement, then we will refrain from saying that I don't know, as an Inspector General, as a DCI, I don't know who abducted who. Why have we equipped you as taxpayers with machinery of investigations? And if you need much more high-level machinery or instruments of investigations, we can organize for that as Kenyans. But telling us that you don't know how our children are abducted and who abducted them, we are not going to take that as the taxpayers, as the people of Kenya. Tafadhali, people must know why they are in office. The public servants, state officers, must know why they are in office. And I want to believe, because today the IG is in the court of law answering this, he will be able to come out clearly and tell us Are Kenyans safe? Our students, as they go back to school, he should be able to tell us, are they safe? Whether they are traveling from Nairobi to the farthest distance of the country, are they safe? We would want to hear this from the Inspector General of Police, DCI, NSIS, and the last. Ladies and gentlemen, we therefore direct the Inspector General to produce all Kenyans who have been abducted away from the 5 who were released yesterday. During the Gen Z protests, we had a total of 82 Kenyans. I know a few were found, but still records state that there are Kenyans who until today are not found. We don't know where they are. In this regard, Zipporah. Sorry. Yes. In this regard, the Kenyans who are still missing, having directed that the DCI, the NSIS, the other organs of our security agencies get to understand better their mandate and get to reread again why they are in office, we would like to have 0 abducted Kenyans records from today. We would want to have records reading 0, that no Kenyan now is missing. So this should be done within the shortest time possible, because these state officers continue to draw salaries from Kenyans' taxes. So, ladies and gentlemen, away from that, and before I exit the abductions, I would also want to talk to our Gen Zs that they say respect is not bought. When you have a senior authority or a senior person in your neighborhood, whether your parents, your aunties, your uncles, your teachers, your lecturers, your senior officers of government, it is very well that we inculcate a culture of respect, non-discrimination, and we are able to take care of really what comes out of us, so that we cultivate nationalism. From the topmost authority to the child who is born today. We must inculcate nationalism. We must respect each other to a point where even if the government has made a mistake, there is always a way that we can be able to tell them that, look here, you have made a mistake here. It is time for you to do something different. This is what we want. We want change. There is always a respectable way of ensuring that we really don't threaten the life of anyone. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me now to discuss the economy. According to our records last year, the economy was not doing very well in the year 2024. It is a year that we saw many investors pouring out of the country. That was very, very evident that many investors in the country were pouring out, were going to Tanzania, Uganda, Ethiopia, and other countries, because our country did not give a conducive environment for them to invest here in Kenya. Equally, Kenyans complained, and I remember when Gen Zs went to the streets, it was about high cost of living and poor governance, bad governance. I'm coming to bad governance, but for now, I'm discussing the economy, that Kenya continues to suffer under a melting economy due to lack of prioritization of government development agenda. I think when President Ruto and his government were coming into power, they came into power promising us, promising Kenyans, look, we have the power, we have the knowledge, we have the intellect to be able to grow your economy. But 2 years down the line, that has gone under the waters. It has not been realized. Indeed, the economy is retrogressing. So, what has happened in government? Projects that are aimed at injecting GDP, that is the gross domestic product growth, have not been given a priority and focus they deserve. Projects in Kenya that are supposed to be growing the country and GDP, like industrialization, agriculture-based projects, mining-based projects, tourism-based projects, have not been given the necessary focus, the necessary budget, the necessary planning that they need. Instead, the government prioritized assets. Let me read for you. The government must move with speed to prioritize projects such as agriculture, industrialization, tourism, and mining that can help the economy grow. Housing is a dead asset. This is why the economy is dying, because we started with dead assets. It is okay, people need housing, but when you grow the economy, people will build their own houses because they will have money in the pocket. So we started with housing, and it is a dead asset. It is not producing, it is not multiplying. But it starts with agriculture, starts with industrialization. Industries are growing, industries are employing, industries are giving the economy a boost. But when you start with the dead asset, right now how many houses are dead? In terms of, you're telling us you have constructed them, yeah? But who are they helping at the moment? After the mercenaries, after the carpenters, after the engineers did their work, after the quantity surveyors did their work, structural engineers did their work, they left. They left the building. That's a dead asset. But if it is an industry, it could be producing. So that's why the economy is dying, because we are failing to prioritize what grows the economy. Housing is a dead asset project that will not inject anything into the country's growth and development. Stabilization of the economy will lead to the people constructing their own houses and homes according to their own taste. There is great need to prioritize projects that can add value to raise our gross domestic product from 5% to 10%. I hail President Kibaki. He grew the economy almost beyond 6%, almost heading to double digit. Now, our economy is retrogressing. Why? We have not prioritized as a government what needs to be done. This calls for majorly depoliticizing government development agenda and embracing high level of professionalism in public service through prioritizing the development projects that inject money into the economy. And also, all management for public service must be channeled to the right projects that will benefit the taxpayers. Please, all money that we are paying to government must be channeled to the right project that will benefit the people of Kenya. You know, we should be having a growing economy. Every day the economy should be growing. And what will grow that economy? The projects, the government development that is injecting money into those projects. But what are we doing? Zero. Dead assets. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm done with the economy. According to last year, allow me to talk about education, specifically the JSS, although I had mentioned it earlier, that education is key towards a country's growth and development. It's sad that some students transiting to JSS or grade 9 have no classrooms to run from, since the government has not constructed enough. I said we have a deficit of about 3,000 classrooms, JSS classrooms specifically. The Minister of Education came out clearly yesterday to give the report, and he said that the government was to do 11,000. And he further said that the government has tried to realize that. He also said that the CDF was to do 5,000, which has not been realized. Therefore, we have a deficit of about 3,000 classrooms not constructed. We tasked the ministry to give us a timeline when this will be completed to facilitate smooth JSS transition and ensure that learning is not disrupted in schools. Please, the government of Kenya, can we prioritize what touches on the people? All the money you are spending going donating to churches and donating where? Can that money be injected into the public service? Tafadhali. All money that is being bribed, given to politicians, given to members of parliament to impeach the impeachment process and to pass bills that favor some executive people. Can that stop bribery? Can that money be geared towards our children? Our schools are suffering because of infrastructure development. So we really need to work on that. So we call upon the Minister for Education to give the country a transition scorecard of JSS. What is the percentage of realization of success of JSS transition? These include other transitional challenges that we would want to hear. How far are we in terms of teachers? Away from the 56,000 that they have sung a whole year, that they have employed 56,000 teachers, which is good and progressive. Now we have JSS teachers. We would like to know how many have been employed, how many books have we sent to schools, and other anticipated infrastructure need in schools. Let the ministry give Kenyans period